Hello and welcome to Let Me Be Your Game Guide, a podcast that spends each episode delving into a mystical new video game, exploring its charms and challenges, and helping you decide if it should be next on your list. I'm your host Emma, and with me are my co-hosts Rylan and Sean. Join us for this week's spoiler-filled discussion episode as we escape reality and enter the metaphysical. For the remainder of this episode, let me be your game guide. Welcome to episode 11.2.
We're about to spoil it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the second episode discussing the Darkside Detective. This was my pick. Our last episode, we did a spoiler-free review, so if you wanted to go back and listen to that, it's a good time. It gives you a little time to play the game, too, before you listen to this episode, and it gets spoiled. But if you're ready for things to get spoiled, then you're in the right place.
The spoiler zone.
That's good. So, the Darkside Detective, originally when it was released, it had 6 cases. Later, they added 3 more cases. The last case actually alluded to their sequel.
Mm-hmm.
So once you played that 6th case, you kind of got a little cliffhanger.
Yeah.
I actually really liked that case as well. That was a good one. But we're each going to just talk about which one was the 9th case.
It was Bates Motel.
Yeah, I liked that one.
I did not like that one.
I didn't finish that one.
That one had the most banging my head against the wall out of all of them.
Oh, really?
I think I was just done with it though. Like
that makes sense. You probably burnt
it
out
was
a little bit.
longer than I expected it to be.
Yeah.
So at the first half I was like, oh yeah, and then at the end I was like, okay, come on, let's go.
That's kind of how I felt about the 7th one when you're in the mall. Like I was like, you first start out there and I'm like picking all these things up. I'm like, where am I going? Like, what am I doing? So it took a while.
I think, and we kind of talked about like talking it more in depth on a couple of specific cases that we were more interested in. But do we want to just like go through each case in order otherwise?
Yeah.
And then just kind of spend longer on some of them?
We could do round robin and just kind of like just go case by case giving a synopsis. But we've each chosen a favorite case. And so once we hit a quote unquote favorite case, we'll dive a little deeper into it, if that works.
Well, I think if that's the format, then I think Sean should start, and then you, and then me, and then Sean.
I need to remember the first case. Hold on one second.
Malice in Wonderland.
Okay, so case number 1. You entered a house and you were trying to look for a missing girl in this very fancy mansion or house. It was a big house.
Yeah.
You first talk to the dad. The dad doesn't know anything. He's just like smoking on the couch. He's like, whatever, I'm trying to find my daughter. I don't really know much what happened. You and Officer Dooley start looking around. You talk to the maid because the daughter hung out with the maid quite a bit, and you're trying to talk to her and see what's going on. Eventually you figure out that there's a dark side portal in the attic. And so you have to recreate the portal, and then you enter the portal and you walk in while Dooley stays outside, and you find the girl. And then the maid pops out and says, I was the one who created that, and I wanted to leave her in here so I could get the money or something. So hold her for ransom, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, something along those lines. And then you trap her in said portal and leave her in the dark side. So that was essentially just a quick cliff note of case number 1.
Yeah.
And it was a quick case.
It was. It took me 17 minutes.
Yeah, I'd say like 20 minutes tops. It was very quick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was a good intro tutorial one, though, to kind of get the idea of the game. So
yeah, there weren't that many screens. Just some really basic item combining with things that were pretty obvious.
Yeah.
I liked the way that little story plays out, though, where it like you kind of know who the bad guy is, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then the dark side, I just think that's fun. The alternative reality portal, trapping her in there. I was like, ooh, that was fun.
For sure.
Well, case number 2 was called Tome Alone. And Tome Alone was basically you're at a library and there's this weird darkness above the library. It's almost like a swirl of dark energy that's, I don't know, kind of tornadoing above. I don't know. It's a storm. A storm's a brewing, an evil one. And you have to kind of figure out who opened this giant portal. And when you go in there, there's the librarian that's just like kind of grouchy. And then there's one little kid that's in the kids section and he's talking to someone and there's a floating book. And then eventually, after you do some investigating, it turns out that this kid got bored and accidentally opened this portal and all of these ghosts are here. And you, halfway through the case, you start being able to see them. And
yeah, that was really funny. You put on like the what is that called?
Is the viewer or something like that? So you had like clips of like film that you put in there, and eventually you put one in there and you could see the ghosts. And so you're walking around the entire library with this on your face, like looking at all the ghosts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you could see that the floating book was because there was like a ghost woman with the child, and these were a lot of references to famous authors because we're in a library. So I wrote some of them down. There was Aleister Crowley, William Butler Yeats. Let's see here. There was an author called Pratchett, and I think that they're talking about Terry Pratchett.
I would think so. He was in the fantasy section as well.
Yeah, and then Adams. Originally I thought it was Douglas Adams, but then I was like, wait, is it Herbert Adams?
I don't know who Herbert Adams is.
Do you know who Douglas Adams is?
Yeah.
Is he the author of that space?
Yep.
You know what I'm talking about.
don't-
God, why
Space
can't I?
Odyssey.
We're good at
The-
podcasting.
The
The Tower
Hitchhiker's
one.
Guide.
Yes.
The Hitchhiker's Guide. So that's why I think it was him.
I think so because
Yeah.
because he was playing chess, I think,
Yes.
against
Pratchett.
and that was in the fantasy and sci-fi section of the
Yes.
library. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's also Edgar Allan Poe and H.P. Lovecraft
Having
arguing.
a fight. Yeah.
Yeah, they're arguing upstairs.
I think
that
I
was
think
pretty
it's
funny.
about who has the scariest book or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you end up bringing the the like romance novel that the librarian's been
Skylight.
reading.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, so you basically you close that portal and send all the ghosts back. I thought it was really sad though because the little boy's like, I accidentally opened the portal, but then it was just really nice to have some company, so then I didn't mind. And I was like, oh.
Oh, yeah.
But something I really liked about this and spent way too long looking at were the titles of books. So
Yes.
each bookcase, you could click it like between 5 to 10 times, and it would list off different book titles. So I wrote them all down, every single one.
Wow.
And I'll post my list on Patreon. I'll post it on the Achievement Unlocked tier if you want to take a look at it.
Nice.
It was fun. It was a lot of
Yeah.
clicking, and very quickly you learn that there's not like any information here.
No,
Yeah.
this
But it was fun to see the different titles.
I can imagine that the developers just sat down and wrote a bunch of these and had like way too much fun writing
Yeah.
them. So, Rylan and Sean, I have given you dice. And I was thinking that you guys could, I don't know how many books you want. You could get one book, you could get a couple books.
Give me 2 books in case I don't like the first one.
Okay.
That's
so,
usually my strategy
I'll
when I
go
go to the
2.
library.
Yeah.
Okay, so first you guys are going to roll your d20.
17.
I got a 2.
Okay, so we'll do
Should we do this one at a time? Is that
Sure, yeah. Well, we'll do Sean
Go,
first.
Sean.
So you did 2. So you're going to get a fantasy book
nice?
and then roll your d6.
1. Man, these rolls are not
You
good.
You got Glum Tales of the Sadventure.
Oh, well, that's
Just
sad.
like your-
just,
just
like
like
my
your
rolls.
rolls.
Yeah.
And then you said 17.
17 on my 20.
Okay. I should have numbered these. Okay. You're getting a horror.
Oh.
U through
Uh-oh.
W. And roll your d6.
4.
Where's Waldo's body?
That's a good one.
Yeah. You guys want to do it again? Or
Yeah.
I'll do
I
one
can
more.
also,
Yeah.
if you guys want to pick your category, I can read through all the categories and you guys just pick your
No,
I'm
that's
gonna,
okay.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
roll my dice.
Because I will say that horror takes up like
half of it.
Half of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But all right, roll your d20s.
I'm going again. 12.
Okay. And then roll your d6.
5.
Late train made me late. It's a horror.
Is that 15? No, 16. Sorry. It was a little worn.
All right. Roll away your d6.
5.
I don't know what this is. Quay 666.
I don't know what that is either.
I don't know what that is, but I want.
I'm not literate enough.
Okay, someone roll me a d6 for a. Actually, someone roll me a d10 for a sci-fi book.
8.
Intergalactic Ballistics for Cats.
Oh, yeah. In case you ever need that.
And then someone roll me. Oh, a d12. I didn't give anyone a d12. Sean, do you want to roll a d12 for
Sure.
a children's book? The children's books were wild.
I will do this.
I will do this. And then we'll be done. Then we'll move on. My God.
That was a mystery in itself. 3.
Learn to count to 107, the largest number known to science.
Yeah.
So there's actually a ton.
I wrote down, I think, another children's book, Little and Big Pooh Save the Day.
There's also Baby's First Hangover. Baby Incites a Riot.
Yeah.
Oh man, there's just so many good ones. A horror K through L. Lemons for every meal.
Yeah.
I was excited for this case when it was in a library because that's a really fun setting, but I definitely had trouble. There's a part where you have to cut up the microfilm, which
I struggled with this part too.
which it was not like, it's kind of obvious when you get there, but I don't know. I had to recruit my partner's help and I had to walk her through every single thing that we had done. And she's like, oh, just do that. And then, that's what you had to do. But then I got stuck again with the photocopier.
Oh.
Because I knew that's what you needed to do, but I think I had tried to do it like incorrectly.
Uh-huh.
I don't remember if you needed to use an item on it or just, I think you
just
needed
clicked on it.
to not use an item on it.
Yeah.
And that was my problem.
Yeah, so you were using the photocopier to make your fake library card, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which you just like cut up and glue another face on and then photocopy it, and that was it. Like,
yeah,
here you go.
she's like, good enough for me.
Yeah.
Yep.
But that was funny too, because at the photocopier, Dooley is talking about how every year the librarian makes him photocopy his butt.
Yeah.
And McQueen's like, that's not normal.
Yeah.
He's like, what? Not everybody has to do that? And he's like, no. It's like, that's the cost of working out, I guess.
Yeah.
And then some of the references I wrote down for this case, there's a don't blink. Well, I guess it's a Doctor Who reference. There's that angel statue by the elevator on one of the floors, and when you click on it, Officer Dooley goes, "Don't blink," and it's a reference to that one episode with the angel statues that if you look away, they like sneak up on you.
It's the only episode I've seen of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Me too. Actually, I've seen a bunch, but that's the only one I remember, and I never watched them all the way through. I had a friend that loved Doctor Who, so I would just like watch whatever they were watching, and they made me watch that episode. So there's also a Jurassic Park reference when you try to get into the librarian's computer, and she goes, you didn't say the magic.
Oh,
I mean, I
yeah.
don't think it actually
Yeah.
says that, but it has the little, she's on the computer screen going,
Yeah, shaking her finger.
Yeah.
And then there's also an up, up, down, down, left, right, a BA reference.
Yeah.
I don't remember where it is, but I was like, oh,
I don't remember what that was either.
yeah. But I just thought this was fun. It was just like a quirky episode, and it was the second episode, but I felt like it was the first episode because the first one felt like kind of a tutorial to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I liked this. This was my favorite one.
I liked how like the premise of it was just like, oh, you're with Dooley to return his library books. And then it's like, oh, while you're there, there's this like big ghost thing going on.
Yeah.
There were a lot of cases like that where it was just like, oh, seemingly normal thing. Which I liked, I think, more than even the like, oh, go solve the case. It's like, oh, you're just doing something normal.
Yeah.
But then, which I think this next case, number 3, Disorient Express, was within that category. I think they were just like, Dooley needed a ride to work or something.
Yeah. He was trying to go to work on the train and
the train wasn't moving.
Yeah.
So that's what you're investigating is like, why is the train stopped here today?
Yeah.
Well, it turns out that there is a portal to the dark side that it's opened up in the subway. And so that is stopping. There's all these ghosts that have come out and they're like mingling. Or are there ghosts on the real world? I think so, right?
Yeah, it's like the train in the real world swapped with the train from
that's right.
dark side. So it's like
there's a dark side train in the real world.
Yeah.
And they're stuck there. And so you're trying to figure out how to keep this going. And so you walk down the subway tunnel through the portal, and that's where the train from the bright side is with all the regular people. And again, you met her in the Tome Alone, the last case, Raxa.
Oh yeah,
she's
I didn't mention her.
She's the student of occultism, but then she also did computer science because it's practical.
Yeah.
And so there's these real people stuck in the dark side. But you also meet your duplicates from the bright side division. You meet, I don't remember their names. It was like very similar to Francis McQueen and Patrick Dooley, but it's funny because they're opposites of you guys. So, the McQueen person from the dark side is like this, like uncouth, like
super serious, like
kind of stupid.
Oh wait, are you talking about
the McQueen?
Yeah, he's like cryptic.
Yeah. And then the Dooley duplicate is like a strong, like smart officer, and he's like, man, I wish I had a good teammate.
Yeah.
Like the opposite of the bright side. But I thought this case was really fun because it like has a whole mirrored world on the other side. So you get to visit the dark side again and see that like things are the same. But their world is like where scary things are normal, where there's ghosts and monsters that fly through the sky and people screaming and things like that. This had a really fun mechanism because you needed to get a key to travel between the dark side and the light side, but you weren't able to bring it through the portal. So what you had to do is flush it down a toilet in the train station on the dark side, and that would deliver it to the bright side. Yeah.
You gave it to the little...
You're right.
Tentacle.
There was a tentacle sticking up.
It had a name.
It did?
Yes. I can't remember what it was because you see it again and you call it by its name.
Oh, funny.
Fudge. I can't remember. And
I didn't catch that when you see it again. That's funny.
Yeah. Dang it. I don't think that I wrote it down. You see it again in the 7th case where you're climbing through the what's in the like
in the mall?
Yeah.
No, it's the one after the mall. I did the mall one.
No, it's in the mall.
I don't remember seeing it in the mall.
Because you're climbing through the vents.
Oh, I didn't see it when I was climbing.
If you go to all the different areas in the vents, there's a ton of different like things that you see.
Oh.
Is this the first time you see the rat too?
Maybe.
Because you see the rat throughout all of these cases.
I didn't realize it was the same rat.
I don't know if it was or not, but there's a rat.
Probably the same art. But this was it was Tam, the train engineer.
Yeah, he was my favorite.
He was pissed off and he wrote a occult computer virus to make this train emergency happen. And so you have to take the floppy disk with the virus on it and take it to Raxa, the occultism computer science student, and she helps you create like a, I don't know, antivirus that you then go put back into the train computer control panel. It's just so stupid.
Tam always talked in third person too.
Yep.
It was so funny.
Yep. And so Tam got arrested.
Yeah.
That was the end of him.
Did you guys go to Dooley's conspiracy website?
The actual website?
Oh, the one he mentions?
Yes.
No, I forgot to do that.
Deluminati.com.
Yeah.
I'm going to link it in this episode
Oh, I
because
gotta
I
check this
went
out.
and it's they actually built a website
Yes.
for it.
Oh,
It's
that's
really cool.
awesome.
Yeah, because Dooley's like super interested in like conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's and it comes back. His website comes back in a different case.
Oh, yeah.
In the Loch Ness Monster one.
Yeah. Mhm.
Oh, that's right.
Because that's how the Loch Ness Monster
So he
finds
meets
him.
Nigel.
Yeah.
Nigel.
So awesome.
I also don't know if you guys noticed, because again, I really liked the music, and I thought that the music in this level or this case sounded like 5 on it. I don't know if that's what it's called. I got 5 on.
Oh, Luna's?
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, a little
Oh,
bit.
yeah.
Just wait until it gets to. Just a second. Yeah, like right when it started, I was like, this sounds like that one song that
Mhm.
they redid for what was it, Us or Them? I can't remember.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Ba-dum bump.
That was Demon on a floppy disk.
Oh.
Oh, but it has the same.
So this game has good
Oh.
music, dude.
It
Yeah, it
does.
does.
It does. Yeah, and like this was Home Alone.
Yeah.
This is just me clicking on things incorrectly and McQueen saying, "We'll call that Plan B."
Yeah.
Over
for
and
sure.
over and over again.
Yeah.
Sorry, and I just thought I'd point that out because I thought it was cool. I was like, oh, it kind of sounds.
Yeah, it
like
does sound
5
like
on
that.
it. Case number 4. I actually liked this one.
Yeah, this one was pretty fun. It took a little bit though. Like I struggled at some parts on this one.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
one was challenging, but it was really fun because it was stupid.
Yeah.
Very, very stupid.
Yeah.
So this one was called Police Farce, and it actually took place in the police station. It's someone's retirement party.
Their
And-
pre-retirement
Oh
party.
yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
The pre-retirement party.
The one that you go to earlier in the week if you can't make the real retirement party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and everyone's there.
Yeah.
But I actually have a lot of notes for this one.
I do as well, actually.
Maybe we'll dive into this one just to talk about.
There's
our
a lot of
notes.
fun to it.
Yeah, so basically you go to this pre-retirement party, but you show up and like all the presents are on fire
Yeah.
and everyone's just kind of like standing around.
Like nobody wants it to be their problem. They're like, I'm trying to relax right now. Like,
Yeah, everyone's drinking, they're like just hanging out, but this whole like a big pile of presents.
it's
just
like a
on fire.
sizable fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a bonfire.
Yeah.
So turns out that there's these little gremlins that escaped. It was an urn that Dooley bought from
Like a paranormal antique store.
Yeah.
that you visit later. And it turns out these little gremlins are just causing mischief. And at one point you find one and it just has a gun and it's just shooting.
Yeah.
Just shooting a gun. The other one, I'm trying to remember. The other one's like messing around with the wires.
The
Yeah.
server,
And
yeah.
yeah. Where's the third one?
The third one is in the evidence room.
Oh,
And you
yeah.
have to use the gas canister and the gas mask to
Yeah.
knock it
Yeah.
out.
So you have to get these little guys. And once you collect them, you hand the urn to Dooley and he immediately drops it.
Yeah.
And so you have to pick them back up. And I think it just says like, because as you collect things, it'll be like acquired this. And it says like acquired gremlins again.
Yeah.
Or something. But there are there's references in here to X-Files because you meet Scully.
Yeah, Chief
Mhm.
Scully.
Chief Scully.
And she's got red hair and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get to hear a few of McQueen's old cases. So he had the downtown ghoulie man, a possibly undead flasher.
Oh,
Mirror Jane, a woman appearing in mirrors to other women who look exactly like her.
yeah.
And then Lichen Toupee, a wig made from werewolf hair, which turns others into werewolves when worn.
That's creative.
Maybe
Yeah.
that should be werewolf, spelled W-E-A-R.
Yeah.
I thought the gremlins were really cute.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they had different names.
Mm-hmm.
The one with the gun, his name was Junior, and when you like click on him, he says pew pew tee hee hee.
Yeah.
I actually didn't realize they had different names. What did you write any of the other names down?
No, just that one.
Oh man. Oh, and I wrote down a quote here that Detective McQueen said. McQueen is the like
He's kind of your rival.
yeah,
He's like the hotshot detective.
he's
like,
married to the mayor.
Yeah.
He's an
Everyone-
asshole.
Yeah.
He is. Yeah.
He's got so much space in his office. He's got room for a pottery wheel. He's
Yeah.
got all these trophies on his shelf.
Yeah.
But at one point he says, "Whatever, McLame, live long and prosper, dork."
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? Oh man.
But that's awesome because he's like, make yourself useful. Go get me a coffee.
yeah.
And so actually what you need to do to advance the case is give him a coffee with laxatives in it. And so then he just spends the rest of the time in the bathroom.
Did you guys go into the bathroom before he went in there?
No, it doesn't. It didn't allow me to go in. It said that
Oh.
no one could
I
go
don't-
in there because it was like the worst place ever.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God. Because I forgot to click on the bathroom and then he went in and I was like, no, I didn't go in there. And then it wouldn't let me in. So I was scared that maybe I missed something.
Nah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good.
There was Officer Cal.
The
dog.
Yeah.
He was so cute.
Sniffs out candy.
Yeah, he sniffs out candy, which like they wanted to train him for drugs, but they accidentally trained him for candy, which turned out to be convenient because they had all those candy related crimes or something.
Yeah.
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 It's just ridiculous.
Oh, I have another. If you guys wanted to roll for evidence, if you guys want to roll a d6
Yeah.
for
Oh.
evidence, I can.
I got a 4.
A 4. That is a box of old socks related to a ring of crooked washing machines that were behind the robbery of their other halves.
Oh.
I got a 6.
Oh, you got a 6, eh? Perfect. You got hundreds of tiny hats a man made to keep mice warm, but they turned out to be a gang of robbers.
Oh my gosh.
Dang.
Yeah.
The hats were robbers?
No, the mice were robbers.
Aw.
I know.
There's rats and mice. You got to watch out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're just trying to get by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You also had the there was the holding cells
Yeah.
that apparently they keep locked at night with a fire hose that they just run through the
Yeah.
handles.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the rat was in there.
Oh yeah, he was in there doing
Yeah.
time.
Mm-hmm.
Tam was in there too.
Tam was in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he had a knife.
Yeah, he was whittling.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He like confiscated his knife.
Yeah.
Who else was in there who was smoking?
I think it was Mr. Plinkman.
Yeah.
Gary Plinkman.
And I don't know, he kept showing up, and I don't know if he originated in this one or where he came from.
Gary Plinkman did?
Yeah. He kept showing up over and over again.
Oh,
and I
you're
didn't
right.
understand where he
Oh
originated.
yeah, he was in Dawn of the Dead.
Was he the dad in the first one?
I didn't take notes on the first one.
Hmm.
He
No.
might have been though.
Somebody play the game and tell us. Well, case 5, Loch Mess. This was the summer camp one.
I also like.
I
this
really
one.
like this one too. Yeah.
This one was funny. It's McQueen gets a call, I think, from there's the kids at Blood Wolf camp.
Blood Wolf. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the Blood Wolf Club.
Yeah, so this is like the Cubs Blood Wolf Scouts, I think.
Yeah.
And they're saying that Dooley's missing. So you go out there to see what's going on. And so this is located at one of the Twin Lakes. This is at one of the lakes in the town or county of Twin Lakes. And there's an information booth with a woman who's very strange. You meet these trio of kids that are the Blood Wolves that
I freaking loved Emily.
Yeah. Yeah.
she was evil.
Yeah.
So I guess like Dooley is like a camp leader for the Blood Wolves, which are these, I guess like satirical Cub Scouts.
He's the Blood Alpha.
He's the Blood Alpha,
Yeah.
and their motto is to never be prepared. And
Yeah.
they have all sorts of weird crap that they're into.
Mm-hmm.
But these kiddos are so funny. There's Emily, who is like into arson and theft and knives and
Well, and this is the one quote I wrote down.
Yeah.
So she's building you compliment them on the fire and they're like, "Oh, Emily built it." And she goes, "I didn't build it. I just freed the flame."
Yeah.
she's a very weird little girl.
Yeah.
There's Amelia, who was pretty normal. She was like the tall one, but she was really into getting like the badges.
Mhm.
Like there was a couple times where she's like, "Oh, good, I can get my like standing here doing nothing badge while I'm waiting." She wasn't being sarcastic. She was excited about that, I think. And there was Devin, and he was just like a weird little boy. He said some really weird stuff all the time that was random.
A sheltered child because his
Yeah.
dad keeps
His
calling.
dad
Yeah.
kept calling and was like super overprotective.
That was so funny. Just want to make sure everything's okay over there. Like, yeah.
It's like every time you re-entered that space, the phone was ringing.
Yeah.
And I don't know, just exploring like the camp was funny because there's like the lunch lady who is like, we have stew, that's all you get.
Yeah.
She was pretty funny. There was also like a robot that they had. What was the robot's name? Like,
Oh, I don't remember. But yeah, that's how you had to figure out the map of where Dooley went.
yeah, there was like
Yeah.
a sassy robot that
Yeah.
you have to like parlay with. And anyways, you find out that Dooley had been corresponding with someone named Nigel online through this his Illuminati website and other places. He'd basically been lured off somewhere to meet with Nigel. That turns out to be the Loch Ness monster, or the equivalent of it, I guess, in this lake. And his name is Nigel, and he's very interested in being a makeup artist. Is the monster. And so you finally meet him on the other side of the lake. Basically holding Dooley hostage, but in a really friendly way.
Yeah.
Like he just won't let Dooley leave, but there's not really danger or anything like that. And so you have to devise a method to help Nigel get away without anybody seeing him.
Yeah, when you have to like travel on a boat, so you have to like fix a boat up, and then you have to travel to this island that they're on. And once you get on the island, there's the reporter. I forget the reporter's name.
Dick Brickman.
Yeah,
Dick
Dick
Brickman,
Brickman,
you
who
see?
always says that he's Dick Brickman here with Dick Brickman and this other person. Like, yeah.
I hear his voice as like one of those 50s, like, I'm Dick Brickman, you see?
Yeah, Dick
Yeah.
Brickman here on another
Yeah.
live report.
You do so much better. I think it's because I was also watching The Twilight Zone when I was sick a couple days ago when I was
fun.
finishing this
Yeah.
game. So I started watching The Twilight Zone, like the old one.
Yeah.
And they all have that kind of like that older, I don't know, late 50s voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you meet him, and then you have to persuade him to get off of the island so that way Nigel can leave. And then Nigel also wants you to build him being convinced by Dooley that you don't want people to read Nigel's mind. So you have to create a tinfoil hat for Nigel.
So yeah, you have to get the tinfoil.
Yeah, you have to get the
Yeah.
tinfoil from some protesters who think that there's a monster out there. And you have to convince them to leave.
Barry and Larry.
Yeah, Barry and Larry to steal the tinfoil from their food that they left because they're there for days to find this monster. And then, yeah, you tape a tinfoil hat for Nigel, and then Nigel leaves, and that's the end of the case.
Yeah. Gosh. Yeah, now as I'm going back through these, I'm like, I actually liked a lot of these.
Yeah, it's so funny. Okay, so talking about the sixth case, that one,
Dawn of the Dead.
yeah, Dawn of the Dead, DON of the Dead. This was the final case for the original series of Darkside Detective, and what occurs is you're at the police station, and there's riots. There's riots all over the town, and you have to figure out what's going on. And it becomes very apparent very quickly that it's zombies. It appears to be zombies that are infesting the town. And so you have to figure out what's going on. And so you go to 3 different locations. The first place I went to was the museum.
Same.
So I went to the museum first, and you see a big T-Rex when you go in the museum, and then you walk a little further, you see a cabinet that you can't unlock yet, and then you go into the next room, and there's a mummy that has gotten out of the sarcophagus. And so you have to try to lure the mummy back in. And so there's a scepter that's in that room, so you take that, you go back to the T-Rex, you hit the T-Rex with the scepter, and a bunch of bones fall out from something that had eaten previously, is what Dooley tells you. And then you go and unlock the cabinet, you get a glass brain, and then you put that in the sarcophagus, and the mummy walks in, and you close the sarcophagus. So that's the step ones. Pretty funny, pretty entertaining. And then you go to the second place I went to was Chinatown, I think.
Yeah, to the antique store.
Back to the antique store.
Did no one try to go in a different order?
No.
I didn't either. And once I had finished, I was like, how did they know I was going to go in that order?
I was wondering if it might be a thing where I think the first two you could have done in either order, but the third one you had to do last. I'm not sure.
What was the third place again?
It was the Dawn's Manor.
Oh yeah, the Dawn's Manor, right?
But also I feel like they tricked you into going to those ones in order because that's the order that the chief told you. And they also, like, if you kind of go from like top to bottom on the map, that's
Yeah.
the order. So
Yeah.
I just thought it was a weird psychology thing that I was hoping one of you guys didn't do it, but maybe I'll go back and replay it and see what happens.
Yeah.
If you go and play it, if you hadn't played it yet, or if you went in a different order, please email us because I'm curious.
Yeah. Yeah, good to know. Yeah.
email us at letmebeyourgg@gmail.com.
Yeah. So you go to Chinatown, you go to the old antique shop, you see the guy that Dooley bought the urn from, and he talks about how he's not going to get out of from behind the counter unless you... Oh, what was in that space?
There were monkey paws that were going out of
Oh,
control.
yeah, and you had to catch him. So, yeah, you figure out in the space you can't leave once you're there, but you figure out how to catch the monkey paws, and then you talk to him, and he gives you a little bit more information. And then the last place is the Dawn's Mansion, which is a mob boss. And you go inside, and someone's trapped by a zombie. And so you have to save that person. Go ahead.
There's just a conveniently placed side table there, and that's where you need to place the items on to rescue her.
It's a candle, and then you have to take like a battery that has like a fire starter on top of it. You've kind of manufactured that, and that's how you light the candle that then burns the rope of the chandelier, and the chandelier falls on the said zombie.
And sets the entire house on fire.
Yeah, and then
No, it didn't.
Oh, you're right.
No, it didn't.
My
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah, not right off the bat. You get Roxa.
Yeah, Raxa.
Yeah, you get her out, and she said that she's created her own club. Essentially, she's created her own force because she's been involved with so many weird things now that she wants to help out, and so she's kind of like part of the team, kind of. And so, but then you stand outside and like the whole mansion is on fire and burning, and like you're like no
And
big
you just
deal.
keep denying it too. She keeps bringing it up, and you guys are like, "No, what are you talking about?"
Yeah, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Like, no way. So
We did not start a fire.
Yeah. So after that, you realize that you need to find the Dawn because the Dawn's body wasn't there. And so you go to the graveyard. And when you go to the graveyard, it's the inside of the graveyard has been sealed off because there's zombies inside of it.
Yeah, and you're seeing all this from Lookout Point.
Yeah.
Or from Makeout Point.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and you click on Dooley, and he's like, "Why'd you bring me here again?"
Yeah. So you get there, and guys decide to split up. You move a trash can out of the way, and there's a manhole. So Dooley decides to go in the manhole, and you decide to climb over the fence and get into the space. So as Dooley goes into the sewers, he meets a couple of workers there, and I forget how you convince them to leave, but
I think you just tell him to leave.
Yeah, I think you basically just like abuse your power as a cop and be like, "You're gonna get in trouble for this," and they're like,
Yeah.
"Fine, we'll leave."
oh yeah, because they're like illegally digging in the side of the sewer or something like that.
Well, they're like, "We have permits," and you're like, "No, you don't."
Oh yeah,
Something.
yeah.
But
So-
it was kind of fun just to play as Dooley, just like as something different.
Yeah.
I loved this part.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And so yeah, you're in the sewers with Dooley. You get a jackhammer, I think it is, and you reach a point in the sewer where you can't go any farther. It's kind of surrounded by like a gate, and so you decide that you're going to take the jackhammer and you're going to break it down with Dooley.
You just go to town on it.
Yeah, so he starts hammering away at that.
And it says, "Meanwhile."
Yeah.
Well, and you missed the reference to Pennywise, but it's Pound Smart.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, there's a clown hanging out down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got like a balloon, and there's a little boat, like a little white paper boat.
Yeah.
But because did I say they're Irish? I think they're from Ireland. So it's a pound
Yeah.
instead of a penny, and then smart instead of wise. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
he's like being really creepy down there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then Dooley's like, "Well, everything seems in order." And he just moves on.
Yeah. So while that's going on, McQueen is up top, and the first place that you can go to, there's like a bunch of tombstones, and the first place you can go to is the shed. And inside the shed is like this old-timey warrior, like southern. Oh,
Those the tombstones
Yeah.
have the names of the developers on them.
but
But they're rewritten.
Oh.
So there's Grave McCabe, crushed by writer's block. Teresa Macabre, drowned in stack overflow. Paul Bearer Conway painted himself into a corner. Ben Haunty, nobody heard what happened to him. And Chris Goulston, eaten alive by bugs.
Oh, that's
Oh,
awesome.
So they kind of like renamed
Yeah.
themselves a little bit. I just wanted to point that
No,
out before
that's
I
we
didn't
so
really
move past
funny.
catch
it.
that. I didn't get the
Yeah.
reference.
I think just because I did research on who the developers were, it stood out.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's so funny. So yeah, the first place that you go to in that space is the shed, or you can. And inside the shed is like this old, like it almost feels like Civil War era, like
Smithy.
yes, Smithy. And he talks about how, he's been fighting in the war for a long time and he decided to take up this gig as a gravekeeper. And that's what he's doing, to hide until he needs to be called back again to fight. He gives you some equipment that you need. And then you leave the space, but he also talks about like how he built his fireplace from like old warship parts or something like that.
He was
forget.
hardcore.
He
Yeah,
was
kinda
super
scared me.
intense guy. Yeah. So you get that, and then you kind of figure out that there's a fight going on from the dark side in this graveyard, and you're trying to save someone that's in the church that's at the graveyard space. You go in there, you meet the other officer, Dooley, the Darkside Dooley, and he got shot, and he talks about how he needs holy water to cleanse his injury. And so you go up top and you meet the priest, and the priest is like the most bro priest you've ever
Yeah,
seen.
he's like surfer,
Yes.
extreme.
Yeah, extreme adventure guy. And he's like, yeah, bro, I packed all this stuff so I could go, and he was going to go travel for the weekend, but he decided not to. And so he has like, he sprays you with holy water out of a squirt gun, like as a
yeah.
super
Oh,
soaker.
yeah.
Yeah. He's like, well, that was my last squirt, man. I'm sorry. Like, this is all I got, bro. But I can give you a little bit of holy water to help out. And so you get a little bit of holy water. You help the other Dooley, the Darkside Dooley. And then you figure out that you need to get rid of the Dawn and the zombies, because the priest isn't going to come out unless you clear that space. And so you figure out that you need to go to the very top of the water tower and make that all holy water. So with the priest's help, you do that, and then he paraglides off the water tower as it's falling. Yeah. You go and fight the Dawn. But while you're doing that, you're like trapped. You get trapped by the Dawn and his goonsmen. And at that point, it kind of lowers, and Dooley is underneath you guys.
With the jackhammer.
With the
Oh,
jackhammer,
yeah.
and everything falls, and you have to figure out how you're going to save Dooley. Eventually you do. And then the Dawn captures Dooley as he's down there because he got trapped by some rubble. And you have to figure out how to save Dooley. You're like, what am I supposed to do? And you have paint and a life ring. And so you make a portal with that and then drop it on him. And that's how you save Dooley.
I thought this was such a sick ending.
Yeah, it was so cool. Yeah.
Like, I love the ramming the car into the water tower, all the water, and the life ring portal. Kind of a callback to the first case.
Yeah.
I thought it was really awesome. Send him back where he came from.
Yeah. Yeah. And then at the very end, McKing gets awarded because he's the cool guy who stopped all the riots and stuff like that. But then Dooley kind of gives a shout out to you, you're the real hero here.
They're such good friends. It's so sweet.
You should be getting this award. And he's like, don't worry about it. Thanks, buddy. And then that was it.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That was a good one. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I like that one a lot.
Yeah.
Trying to see if I had any other. Oh, I did have a quote from this one. It's when you get the scepter, and you say, "Oh, look, a scepter," and then Dooley goes, "A scepter? I don't even know her."
I don't remember where this was in this case, but there's a chair that it might have been in the Dawn's mansion, that McQueen is like seriously considering stealing or confiscating for police
Oh yeah.
just so he can have a nice chair in his office
Oh,
because he has a
yeah.
crappy chair.
Uh-huh.
I got a kick out of that.
Yeah.
Did you guys watch the credits?
I
that
watched a
rolled
little bit
through
of
here?
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was funny. There was a part like at the end that it's like, this is a message from the government. None of this is true. It's all based on fiction.
Yeah.
No, we did not shrink Twin Lakes down so that you wouldn't know it was real. Or something like that.
Yeah. All right. So case number 7. What is it?
Buy hard.
Yeah, Buy Hard.
Buy
Yeah.
Hard.
Christmas time.
Yeah, it's a Christmas themed episode. So, Buy Hard is you, Dooley, and his cousin or his nephew, Buzz. Yeah. Mhm.
Buzz.
And you're at the mall and you're trying to buy something for Buzz. You're trying to like let Buzz hang out at the mall with you guys for a little while, see Santa, those kinds of things. So you go into the mall, and as soon as you get in the mall, there's like a security robot that's there who's like trying to identify you and see what's going on. He's like, I know about 20% of what's going on in this entire mall. And you're like, okay, buddy. So you continue on, and you have Buzz meet Santa, which turns into Santa being Krampus. So he turns into Krampus.
Krampus.
Yeah, the Krampus. Krampus.
Krampus. I like Krampus.
What's
though.
Krampus? When you said that, I was like, oh yeah,
Yeah, Krampus. I don't know. Krampus. And he turns all the kids into goblins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that. Little
Well, and
shits.
Little shits.
His name is Krampus, obviously.
Oh,
when
yeah.
it changes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So you're in the mall and you have to figure out how to turn the kids back and get Santa back. And so you do a few things to capture the ghouls. You have to put like cotton candy in the water fountain to catch one with a crane. You meet Emily again and her dad and their brother, I think.
You figure out why she's so troubled.
Yeah, the dad's like trying to steal stuff out of the arcade.
Her little brother is inside the claw machine stealing things.
Stuff. Yeah. So you have to smash that to get the claw, and the dad walks away, and Emily's like, talking about how she's like, okay, I get it. When the cops leave, I'll steal the rest of the stuff out of this. Like, got it. So you see her again. You also see the lunch lady. And there's like all these options on the menu, but she's like, yeah, we still only sell stew.
Yeah.
Like, that's all we have. And you're like, can I get anything to drink? I have stew. Okay. And so after a while, there's a tech store, there's a candy shop. You gather a bunch of things. You get the rest of the kids and you turn them all back into normal kids. And then you have to go find Santa. So you...
Yeah, Krampus is allergic to milk.
Yeah.
He's lactose intolerant.
So you got to squirt him with milk.
Yeah. You have to...
Emily delivers him
soaked cookies.
Soaked
milk-soaked
cookies.
cookie.
Yeah.
And then he floats away like Aunt Petunia in Harry Potter.
Yeah. He gets
That's
really
right.
big and floats away. And so then you have to crawl into the vents to find Santa, because you realize that there's a vent behind there and Santa's got to be in the vents. But the only thing that Emily has is a lighter. So it's like Die Hard when he's crawling through the vents with the lighter, and you're crawling through and you're finding pieces of Santa's uniform.
This is where you see the rat again, but it's King Rat.
Oh,
I didn't see
upgrade.
King Rat.
Yeah, you see King Rat, and you see a little like a little tiny village, which I imagined was the mouse village from the robbers that had tiny hats.
Oh, with the hats.
Yeah.
There are no mice, but I was like, who else could this be?
That's so funny. So yeah, you crawl through the vents, you find Santa, you get him his stuff back and untie him because he was tied up in the boiler room space. And then Santa's like, I gotta get out of here. Like, I'm running out of time. I gotta go deliver all these presents. And
which is funny because it's like a mall Santa.
Yeah,
or so you think.
Yeah, or so you think. Yeah,
No, this is the real Santa.
The real deal. Yeah, and so he's like gets outside. He's trying to get his sleigh to work, but he gave you all the magical dust that he had. And so you have to convince somebody who doesn't believe in Santa to believe in Santa. So you bring Emily back out. And Emily talks to Santa. Santa gives her a blowtorch, which was on her Christmas list. And so she has this giant, it looks like Elon Musk's blowtorch that he was like paying people to buy, or like it was
I
like a
don't
huge
remember
one,
that.
like a handheld one
Yeah,
that
it
he
was
was like
giant.
shooting out.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
And so she's shooting that. She's super pumped. And then I forget the reindeer gets confiscated or something. Like he can't use the reindeer.
Yeah, I think McKing ruins Christmas because he comes and like
Oh
gives
yeah.
them a ticket or something.
Yeah, impounds the reindeer or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you have to use your car, and that's how that
Yeah,
ends.
so you have the police car rigged up to
Yeah.
carry Santa's sleigh.
Yeah, and Dooley's like throwing presents out at the back of it, and you're making Christmas happen.
And then his nephew Buzz is just left at the mall. He's like, where'd they go?
Yeah.
Tied to a chair.
Oh yeah, he was tied to a chair from when he was a
'cause you had to
gremlin.
interrogate him. Yeah, so
Yeah.
he's just tied up, and everyone's gone out of the mall, and he's like, "Hey, is anyone here, guys?"
Yeah.
Oh, that was
Exploring the mall was really funny. There was some like, did you get the plant store,
Oh yeah.
the gardening store? That guy was so
he was
weird.
so
Yeah.
creepy.
He had some unresolved issues in his
Yeah.
like everything it was fun in the stores because everything you like look at typically in the game, McQueen is like narrating what he sees or making a comment about it, but in the stores the shopkeeper would like say something about it.
Yeah.
And this guy in the pottery store, it's like every little thing was like, oh, this one, I don't know how to describe, but basically he would like allude to like some woman that had wronged him in the past or like
Yeah.
something like that.
Someone hurt him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very
badly.
deeply. Yeah.
I did write down a quote by Krampus when Krampus first reveals himself. He goes, "Merry Christmas, butts and ghouls. Let's mess this place and wreck these fools."
Yeah.
Did you guys play any of the arcade games?
I played the Space Invaders one for a long time.
I did too.
I thought like something might happen, but it didn't. So I just stopped after like going through like 3 or 4 levels.
Yeah, I played a little of that, and I played a little of the other one,
Zombie Munch.
Zombie Munch.
Yeah.
I played a little of that one too.
Yeah. Yeah, this was a good old fun one.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was really good.
It was a little long in the middle, I felt, but it was like, I don't know, it was really funny. I really love Christmas, so the theme was great. I really liked the ending too.
Yeah. This one I will say I did struggle with for a little bit because it was, the map seemed a lot bigger at
Yeah,
first. And there was a lot of things that you needed to gather before you could finally get things to like click. And so this one took me a little while to figure out.
Yeah, I had to use the hint website on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, this one was a really long one, and then the next one was like record-breaking short.
Oh yeah.
This one took like 10 minutes. This was
8 minutes.
called Poltergeist, and I'll just zip through this because not a lot. I mean, it's basically you're over at Dooley's house for dinner, and Buzz put in like a movie that his mom had rented or bought for them to watch after dinner, but he got bored and put it in there, and it's actually like a poltergeist that's going to take over the house. The pantry is like a huge portal, and Buzz's mom is like totally oblivious to it, but this one was really easy. You basically just got the remote back and turned the TV off, or it was very
basically.
simple, but there was a painting. And the painting is a reference to a game that's actually on our list. The painting is called I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream.
Mm.
And that game was one of our coworkers, Christopher, said that we should play that game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I just thought that was funny. I wouldn't have gotten that reference if he had mentioned it.
Yeah, I've heard of that game.
Yeah, and then not a lot else.
No,
a lot else.
the video was rented from Indian Burial Ground Video Rentals Incorporated.
Yeah.
And you can click on some of the food in the kitchen as well, and it says Pop-Tarts, the breakfast treat of choice for promiscuous children. Just like, what the hell does that mean? Am I a promiscuous child? I love Pop-Tarts.
Yeah.
Oh, there were also movies. The Exorcist, a workout horror movie.
Oh,
yeah.
The Found Boys, a story about some vampires realizing the error of their ways. And then No Trouble in Little Italy, tame fantasy adventure classic.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was a super short, easy case. I liked it though. I don't know. I like these ones where the premise is like stupid. Like, oh, the case summary was just dinner at Dooley's sister's house.
Yeah.
And then the last case was called it was case 9 Bates Motel, Baits, like fish bait. And you are taking your best buddy Dooley on a little trip for his birthday.
Yeah.
And this was really sweet because Dooley was like, "Oh, how'd we get time off?" And McQueen is like, "Oh no, we don't have time off. We're on a case." Wink, wink. And so he's taking him out to this. I guess is the attraction out there the museum?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're staying at a motel, and there's a diner nearby. You're out in the desert. You're on the outskirts of town, basically, or a little ways off. And the attraction out here is there's a museum. Is it the bait museum? It's basically random crap that people have fished up in the lake.
Yeah.
And so it's like a museum with like, I don't know, all sorts of crap, right? Like, do you have examples?
From the your picture of the Sasquatch that you take in the camper case is in there. There's the genie, like the little like genie
the magic lamp.
The magic lamp. I can't remember what else. I think like some bones, like a bird.
Yeah, and so like most of the case revolves around actually there's a foreigner that's also staying at the motel who has fished up the lamp, or at least rubbed the one in the museum. And so now he has this genie following him around. And so you need to expend his 3 wishes so the genie can go home. And I don't remember why you're trying to do that.
Well, the genie just doesn't want to grant wishes anymore, but he's like trapped to forever just serve the people who find him in the lamp until you put postage stamps on his lamp. When he goes back in there, he can be sent home.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a pretty wild scene. A couple wild scenes.
I don't know why I'm having trouble remembering like the order of things that are happening, but at some point you need to go on a spirit quest.
Dixit,
Dixit,
the dog or the coyote, your spirit guide.
Oh, okay, yeah. You combine energy. You combine an energy drink with protein powder that Dooley brought. And then you go in the desert and drink it, and you have like a spirit quest. And yeah, there's this coyote that is your guide as you go to like the secret temple in the desert.
Yeah.
And you ascend to the top, and there's these like
Rick and Randy.
Yeah, they're bodybuilders.
Yeah, but they're like big dogs.
Yeah, they're like bodybuilding
coyotes,
like coyotes or wolves or something. And they're like all about lifting. It's ridiculous, but they're like, I don't know, they're like wise, but I don't know, just all about lifting. But I guess like they're like, this is the place where all the coyotes and bison come to like live. And so you have to solve this little puzzle to like fix the other workbench or something. And I don't really know what, somehow
that's how you get the space stamps. Because even you as like McQueen are like, what the heck just happened? And Dooley's like, oh, duh, you didn't see those symbols? That's like the order, or like those are the symbols of the stamps we need to use to send the genie back home. But you missed the space baby scene. You become 2 little space babies in bubbles floating in space.
Yeah, I don't know why I have such poor memory of this one. I feel like I had trouble with some of this towards like the beginning of this, and then I was kind of done with this case already, I think.
Yeah. I mean, you've covered most of it. The space baby scene I was cracking up because you and Dooley like morph into 2 little like fetus babies in these bubbles floating in space.
There's also this weird guy at the diner who just rhymes things for no reason. You walk in, he's like, "What's up, shoppers?" And you're like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, coppers. I mean, what's up, coppers?
Yeah.
And he's trying to like invent this dialect that nobody can understand because it's just things that rhyme instead of what you're saying.
Yeah.
He was ridiculous.
That's so funny.
And then you meet Santa again. Santa's the fry cook.
Nice.
And the rat. And the rat's back.
Oh man.
In the back.
Oh yeah. Oh, I did write down when you're on your spirit quest, when you're with those like bodybuilding wolves, like you turn to Dooley and you're like, "Isn't this weird?" And he's like, "Shut it, 2 legs. I'm a wolf now."
Yeah.
And then at the end, what happens to Dooley? I just wrote down, Dooley. 'Cause there's a cliffhanger, but I'm like, I can't remember. I played this game
taken.
2 days ago.
He gets taken.
By who?
I can't remember.
See, you don't remember either. Okay. Yeah, who does take you? I don't know why I have no memory of this. I remember the cliffhanger and being like, oh my God. And almost thinking like, dang, I need to play the next game. Which I probably will play, just not in such a short time frame.
Yeah.
Oh, it says, suddenly Dooley is transported away to the dark side as a shadowy figure observes, and it ends in a cliffhanger.
He just gets taken.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Yeah.
But then McQueen's clearly upset and he
yeah.
screams, Dooley! And that's the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be continued.
As
Play
all
the sequel.
wishes are legitimate and had no other way of solving the issues, the genie is released from his bondage to Otto and returns to his lamp. At the same time, a mailman ghost from the dark side working for Fed Extra takes the lamp away after being properly stamped. And then, yeah, as McQueen and Dooley prepare to return to their room, suddenly Dooley is teleported away to the dark side as a shadowy figure observes, and it ends in a cliffhanger.
Dooley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor
Sad.
Dooley.
Are you guys going to play the sequel?
Yeah, I think eventually I'll play it.
I think so.
I should have
Yeah.
bought them at the same time. I didn't. Like a dum-dum.
Yeah, I got mine super cheap. I'm definitely going to play it. I
Yeah.
think just probably not right away.
Yeah.
Maybe just play one every
Just
once
like
in a
one
while.
here and there.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, this concludes the discussion episode for the Darkside Detective. Please join us next week for our spoiler-free review of
Brothers of Two Tales.
A Tale of Two Sons.
Yeah, that one.
followed by its spoiler-filled discussion episode the week after. Please go give the podcast 5 stars if you liked what you heard and give us a follow. We love getting new followers. You can email us with any comments, questions, or constructive criticism at letmebeyourgg@gmail.com. You can also send us any game requests if there's something you would like us to review. You can find us on Instagram and X as Let Me Be Your GG.
Whoa, I didn't know we were on the X.
We're on the X. I've been calling it Twitter, but I realize it's X now. Do people call it X or
No.
do people still call it Twitter?
I think some people call it X, but a lot of people I think still call it Twitter. So
Sweet. X sounds like X-rated and I don't like it.
yeah.
Well, you can
Find us on our OnlyFans.
Yeah.
You can find us on Instagram and Twitter as Let Me Be Your GG. Our Patreon can be found at patreon.com/letmebeyourgg. And our TikTok is Let Me Be Your Game Guide. Thank you for listening. We can't wait to see you next week. And thank you so much for letting me be your game guide. GG, y'all.
Bye.
I rolled another nat 20.
Nice.
Wow. It's going to be a good
dice.
night.
GG.
Test. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle.
I can hear Riley.
5 golden rings.
Ooh, nice. That was a good one.